These are devotions for people at a social distance. This morning in my devotions, I was reading in Ezekiel chapter 22 and came across a well known famous verse that I just feel like I need to look at a little bit differently today. This is 22, verse 30. And I sought, God says, and I sought for anyone among them who would repair the wall and stand in the breach before me on behalf of the land, so that I would not destroy it, but I found no one. And that is an image, the idea there being a breach in the wall and somebody standing in the breach that I've come across many times, as people have talked about, what it means to be a person of faith in the world. We are the people who stand in the breach, who defend society, right? And that is, of course, what the image is all about. But I always sort of kind of imagined it as, okay, the world is going crazy, sinful, whatever, and that we need to stand against the tide of sinfulness in the world. And that's how we, as people of faith, are supposed to stand up. And that is true, but it is also very, very specific in this passage. And that's what I want to underline. Ezekiel 22, the first verse, the verse before that goes like this: the people of the land have practiced extortion and committed robbery. And how have they done that? It goes on to say they have oppressed the poor and needy and have extorted the alien without justice. So the particular problem in society that the prophet Ezekiel is seeing is this: they are not taking care of the most vulnerable people, the poor, the needy, and the strangers, the recent immigrants, refugees, whoever they may be. And that is the problem. That is the sin that is in view in this passage. Not taking care of the most vulnerable in our society. And, that's exactly where we are right now. And I know that the reasons behind it are complicated and everything, what with inflation, what with all kinds of things spiraling out of control. This is not in the control of any individual, but the reality is that all kinds of people right now are falling through the cracks of society. The number of homeless, unhoused people is probably a more helpful way to put it. Unhoused people in our society is skyrocketing. And it has to do, obviously, with the affordability of housing, and it has to do with the economy. And this is a huge problem. We are encountering people coming, looking for help and assistance here at St. Andrew's Hespeler. All kinds of people who are really, really struggling right now just to make ends meet. And we are doing what we can, and you know what? Resources are getting stretched. But when you do not take care of the most vulnerable in society, that is the problem. That's what's wrong. And why? Because they are being exploited, because other people are, in fact, and it's a small minority. I'm not talking about some people who are doing okay. I'm talking about, very wealthy corporations who are maximizing profit at a time of very difficult just survival for all kinds of people. There are people who are indeed practicing extortion and committing robbery by taking from people the very things that are their livelihood. That's why the wall is broken down. That's why there's a breach in the wall in society, and that's why somebody needs to step forward. So actually, to step forward to protect our society right now, that's what we need to be talking. That's what has made us vulnerable. When people are unhoused, when people are struggling to feed themselves with decent nutrition, when they are cut off from supports, that creates vulnerability, not just for them, but for the whole of society, and even for those who are relatively comfortable. The wall, my friends, is crumbling, and we all have to do what we can to stand in the breach. That's what Ezekiel is talking about in this passage. Lord our God, we are living through some very challenging times for all kinds of people. By your grace, by your power, let us stand in the breach, in the wall, doing whatever we can, not only to meet the needs of those who are vulnerable, but to challenge the very basis of why this is happening. Amen.